Good morning, children. Today in this video we are going to study about resources and development, which is part 2 of the first chapter of Geography class 10. Last video we studied about resources and their classification. And in this video we are going to study about types of resources and development of resources. Now, types of resources. There are various types of resources which have been classified on the basis of their origin. Accordingly, we have biotic resources and abiotic resources. Biotic resources are those resources which have been formed by living things. For example, flora, fauna, human beings, etc. Then we have abiotic resources which have been obtained, or they are composed of non-living things like rocks, metals, etc. Now the second type, on the basis of exhaustibility, they are renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Now renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed within a short period of time. They can be replenished. We call them as replenishable resources also. And the examples are solar energy and wind energy. They don't get exhausted on use. Then we have the second one, according to exhaustibility, which is non-renewable. These are the resources which get exhausted on use. When we use them, it is very, very difficult to create them within a short period of time. They take millions of years to get renewed, like for example, fossil fuels. Now next is on the basis of ownership. Accordingly, we have 4: individual resources, community owned resources, national resources, and international resources. Now individual resources are those resources which are owned by a particular person individually, privately. It may be his house, his plot of land. It can be a farmer's agricultural field, which he individually owns. Now, community-owned resources are those resources which can be used by all the members of that particular community, like the burial grounds, the village pond, picnic park areas, etc. So, the whole community has got the right to use them. Then we have national resources, which are very important. All the resources are national resources because they are found within the geographical boundaries of a country. So we can say that all the resources which are found within the geographical boundary of a country can be called as national resources. And even offshore, from the coast, we can say that the oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles, which is termed as territorial water, and the resources which are found over there are the national resources of that particular country. Now we have international resources. International resources are those which are found beyond the exclusive economic zone of a country and which belongs to the open sea, and they can be utilized with the concurrence of international institutions. Now next and the most important one is on the basis of status of development. Accordingly, we have potential resources, developed resources, stock, and reserves. Developed, first of all, are the potential resources. These are the resources which are found in a particular area, but they are still not in use. They have not been used so far. Like in the Thar desert in Rajasthan, there is great potential of solar energy, but still it has not been harnessed. Developed resources are those resources which have been surveyed, their quality and quantity is known, and they are being used. Then we have stock. Stock are those resources which are found, but they cannot be used with the technology that is available to us right now. For example, water. We know that water is composed of two gases, hydrogen and oxygen. And both of them are great sources of energy. But still we don't have the technology how to use water and utilize hydrogen and carbon dioxide from it. Then the last one is reserves. These are also the resources which are found in a particular area in a country, but these resources have been left for the future. They are not being used right now. So here again we see on the basis of origin we have biotic resources and abiotic resources. On the basis of exhaustibility we have renewable and non-renewable. On the basis of ownership we have individual, community owned, national and international resources. On the basis of status of development we have potential resources, developed resources, stock and reserve. Our next topic is development of resources. What do we understand by development of resources? Development of resources mean that when we make the resources fit to be utilized, when these resources can be used and these resources are used by the human beings. And when these resources are used by the human beings, certain problems arise because at times human beings use these resources most recklessly. So we will see now problems due to indiscriminate use of resources. What problems can arise when we use resources without thinking and without giving a care to the environment. First of all, the problem that may arise due to indiscriminate use of resources is depletion of resources. Depletion of resources means the resources are becoming lesser and lesser. We are using most of them up. And that may lead to scarcity of resources in the future. Then we have accumulation of resources in a few hands. That means resources will be more available in the hands of the rich and not the poor. So there's going to be a social problem over here, a widening gap between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. The third problem that is arising, and it is becoming a matter of concern, is global ecological crisis. For example, global warming, ozone layer depletion and environmental pollution. These are also problems which we are facing right now, all because of indiscriminate use of resources. Next is sustainable development. When these problems are arising due to indiscriminate use of resources, then we need to address these problems. How to do? That can be done by sustainable development. Now, what is sustainable development? There are two aspects to sustainable development. One is development without damaging the environment. And the second one is development without compromising with the needs of the future generation. Development should be there, but it should not cause any kind of harm to the environment. And development should be there, but we should not deplete the resources to an extent that the future generation have nothing. So sustainable development is development which is done without damaging the environment and without compromising with the needs of the future generation. So in 1992, an Earth Summit was held at Rio de Janeiro, which was the first international Earth Summit, and it was for addressing the problems of environmental protection and socio-economic development at global level. So these were the problems where a number of heads of the countries gathered together and they came up with this Agenda 21. Now what is Agenda 21? It is an agenda to combat environmental damage poverty, disease through global cooperation on common interest, mutual needs, and shared responsibilities. So, our video ends here. Thank you.